I have invited you here today to share my vision for Kenyan football. Most of you in this room and thousands watching this event from across the country would remember how far back I started the journey to develop and grow our football 20 years ago. I started a grassroots football tournament that later transitioned into a 3-tier league with approximately 100 football clubs participating every season. The Super 8 League, managed by Extreme Sports Limited, provided a platform for thousands of footballers to showcase their talent, earn a living, and pursue their passion in an environment cultured in integrity, transparency, and accountability. Many players found their way to the Kenya Premier League, to the National Super League, and to some destinations beyond our borders. Some of those players include Victor Wanyama, McDonald Mariga, Innocent Moteso, who is here with us today, Jerry Santos, just to mention a few. We may not have enough time to enumerate the impact extreme sports has had in our country. But the audience in this room would be the best testament to our track record and success stories. I therefore want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has walked with us this journey. For all those people who've spoken today, I want to say thank you to Hassan Omar, to Matach Honorable, to Ambani. All of you have been part of this journey one way or another, and I cannot say enough to thank you. The people seated up at the balcony, most of you are my personal friends, and you have been with me over this journey in the last 20 years. Words cannot express my gratitude, even when nobody believed that we could pull off Super 8 over that period of time. Majority of you who are here stood with me, and we are here today. Unfortunately, holistically speaking, the story is different for Kenyan football. In just a few years, the quality of play, quality of coaching, the quality of refereeing, the quality of personnel within the football ecosystem in general have deteriorated exponentially to unacceptable levels. The lack of talent development programs, lack of business-oriented strategies, managerial ineptitude, non-compliance with the law, and lack of transparency and accountability has taken Kenyan football to the doldrums. It is unacceptable. Our access to young and hungry talent, rudely and arrogantly interrupted, has hampered Kenya's football socio-economic benefits over the last 10 years. Bad governance, corruption, especially intimidation and impunity, have become, unfortunately, the norm in our football administration. Today, I am here to tell you that we can take our football to greater heights. We can transform our football into a viable and sustainable social economic pillar of our country. In order to achieve this, we must bravely address the ills that have bedeviled our beloved sport. Ni wakati tupambane na hizi shida zote and offer ourselves as solution providers. Ladies and gentlemen, football stakeholders, it is in this regard that I am announcing today my candidature for the presidency of Kenya Football Federation. In 2011 tulijaribu, tumejifunza, raundi hii tumejipanga, raundi hii tuko tayari, raundi hii niko uwanjani, na raundi hii liwe liwalo tunaingia. I am asking all Kenyans who share my belief to journey together onto the futuristic discourse of commercialization of Kenyan football. In the coming weeks, I will take my message to the delegates of Kenyan football. I will talk about the importance of having quality leadership, integrity, transparency, and accountability in the administration of the sport. I will present my plan to reform and catapult Kenyan football into a thriving commercial and economic entity. It is with this foundation that we begin the campaign of hope and courage and turn our collective dreams into reality. Kenyan football, an untapped industry, has the potential of generating billions of shillings towards the GDP of Kenya. Hence, my proposal based on these three pillars. Number one, how do we address the past? Number two, how shall we deal with the challenges of the present? And number three, how shall we plan for the future? On the past, one cannot successfully build a football industry without the involvement of individuals who have built the game as players. If you do not know where you are coming from, you will not know your destination. For a long time, former footballers, both male and female, who have brought glory to this country, have faced exclusion from the football ecosystem. The only time they are inculcated into the agenda of Kenyan football is during the time of elections and provision of coaching courses, albeit selectively. They rarely get involved in managerial or administrative sections of the game, despite having requisite skills. Former footballers require capacity building on other skills apart from coaching. These include, but not limited to, sports marketing, graphic design, video editing, content creation, copywriting, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and even sports journalism. The issue of alienation of former footballers through divide and rule tactics will end under my administration. We must ensure that the footballers and former footballers who have brought pride and recognition to this country to be inducted into Kenya's Football Hall of Fame. We will also set up a national football museum to display Kenya's football memorabilia, rich history and culture. In consultation with relevant authorities and institutions, my administration will spearhead a retirement scheme with adequate health cover for former footballers. My message, I can see most of you are here today, and I thank you for your presence. To former footballers and administrators, like my friend GMT Otieno, Peter Dao, Josephat Murila, Mike Okoth Origi, George Sunguti, Bobby Ogola, Mickey Weche, Dennis Oliech, Jamal Mohamed, Florence Dua, just to mention but a few, Nedi Atieno, I assure you, we will work together. My administration will embrace you. We shall engage in ideological challenges for the exchanges for the betterment of Kenyan football. That is about the past. When we come to the present day, we have a lot of challenges. The first one you've talked about, infrastructure. Excellence and success in the local football arena depends heavily on sports infrastructure. The quality of local football facilities is terribly saddening. Despite having been touted as the most popular game in Kenya, our infrastructure is lagging behind those of our neighbors like Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and also continentally against Senegal, Cameroon, South Africa, and countries like Egypt and Morocco. In order to realize the full potential of the business of football, There must be a deliberate plan to build sustainable infrastructure that can enable the commercialization of the sport and subsequently our performance on the international stage. This explains why countries with lesser economic prowess than Kenya compete and prosper internationally at competitions such as CHAN, AFCON, and the FIFA World Cup. My administration will embark on infrastructural development strategy, and this drive will start at the grassroots. It is in this light that I propose that we have at least 2 or 3 eco-friendly 5,000 and 10,000-seater stadiums in each county to start with. And I am very aware that we as the football fraternity cannot achieve these targets on our own. And as my brother Hassan, the Secretary General of UDA and IALA MP said, we need collaboration with the right partners, and government is a key stakeholder in this sector, who we shall be dependent on for this particular initiative. My administration will negotiate with national and county governments for dedicated land banks to set up reserves for the sports infrastructure. I shall lobby to ensure that funds for sports infrastructure is ring-fenced at source. Private sector and football clubs should also have access to affordable capital meant for development of football facilities and academies. For the Kenyan Premier League, the National Super League, and Women National Leagues, we will engage county governments on a private-public partnership model to upgrade at least 10 pitches across the country in 8 regions. We will upgrade 2 standard pitches in Coast Region, 1 in Nyanza, 1 in Western, 1 in Upper Rift, 1 in Lower Rift, 1 in Eastern, and 2 in Northeastern. The development of sports infrastructure will increase participation of fans on match days, and the attendance will also ensure ticket revenues, which are heavily correlated with safe and accessible facilities, is tenable and achievable. For Kenyan football to derive broadcasting revenues, rights from broadcasting revenues, well-planned and designed stadiums are prerequisite criterion. In leagues and competitions, because once we build the infrastructure, we also need viable and sustainable leagues, but also leagues that are attractive. We will develop, as we develop the infrastructure, we must also find ways to ensure our leagues, tournaments, and competitions are lucrative ventures that are self-sustaining. Football in Kenya is currently surviving on one thing, and I think most of you have talked about it. Leo mtaani ukienda kucheza ball, you just do it for one reason only. You don't do it for any other reason. It's passion. But passion can only take us so far. And passion is what has kept football alive in this country. When we remove this from the equation, the little football we are playing today is completely dead. Passion is what is keeping us together. Passion is what is keeping football going on. Otherwise, there's no other benefit. Ile shida vilabu zinapitia every day, we know them. I don't want to repeat them here. Everybody on stage has talked about them. Coming to how we will develop our leagues, women football is among the few sports with high potential for growth, locally and globally. The qualification of the Starlets to the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup is testament of the untapped potential. Congratulations to the young girls. Their qualification is a testament of the great job done by the Ministry of Education via the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association, the Federation, and we will keep investing and dedicate resource mobilization to the girls and to the teams. Other than that, we of course will look at innovation in other areas, programs that are tailor-made for the respective women age groups, and bring it to the mainstream media. My administration will develop FKF women's football strategy, a comprehensive one, to chart the course of how FKF will work with all stakeholders to empower girls and women and make Kenyan women football an advocate against gender discrimination. Globally, football is a commercial and economic entity. Our neighbors, and I feel very sad when I do these comparisons, especially when we have to compare ourselves with countries and markets that looked up to Kenya. Our neighbors, Tanzania, with a GDP of 10 trillion shillings, have two of their biggest clubs, Simba and Yanga, raking in annual revenues of not less than 1 billion shillings a year. Yet FKF, in a better economy of 15 trillion, boasts only of giving Kenya Premier Leagues 10 million shillings in a season. The difference is mind-boggling. My administration will follow an economic model that pursues sustainability in growth. We will combine efforts towards revenue growth, diversification, alongside cost containment that will result in profitability and solvent financial structures that will allow FKF to undertake investments required to carry out these activities. This shall inevitably mean that we must, and I repeat, we must restructure how national leagues are run and governed. KPL's administration must have a level of autonomy that shall promote professionalism and good governance in the running of the league.